jazzing up your day with a touch of soul. The Living Room on 938 Live.
From the 9th of October, the REDSEA Gallery has a brand new exhibition titled Presence, which is the latest in Singapore by French artist Val, and will feature 37 bronze sculptures that pay homage to the powerful notion of existence or presence. And Val joins us today to tell us a bit more. I understand that bronze is quite a challenging medium. Maybe not for you, maybe for the uninitiated. Bronze can be quite heavy and so on. Why did you choose to use bronze this time round?
It's true that it's really a tough medium to work with because the process is really has a lot of constraints. But I choose bronze because for me it's like following a tradition of artists, and I like to mix the tradition of the bronze, of the metal material, with the contemporary art. And I really like this duality, and I also really like the duality of the weight of bronze, which is really heavy, to represent the lightness of being and the hopes of expectations. So it's really the matter I really like to use, and it gives me also a lot of freedom, because in the process you have a lot of constraints to follow. We have to do various molding.
That's odd. Freedom from constraints. Okay.
Absolutely, because in all these constraints, the welding allows me to do whatever shapes, whatever positioning of my figures in the world surrounding them.
So let us know, for us who aren't artists, when you work with bronze, what does it look like in the studio? You have a welder's mask, you have a blowtorch, you have... what goes on?
Not
what
at
goes
all,
on?
because first, before doing my bronze, I do my creation.
Okay.
And to do my creation, I will use irons to do like a structure, and then I will do...
Is iron easier to use?
Yes, I can bend it, I can weld it. It's really really easy to move. It's not too heavy, etc. And I've got my team working with me at my studio also, so they really help me to handle my when I work on monumental work, they really help me to handle my kind of structure for me to be able to build up my sculpture after. And then I will use wax, and wax is really easy to handle. It's
but you have to heat it up, right? Wax.
I heat the wax.
Yeah.
And then I use it when it's like a paste, and I do little piece of wax going up little by little. And so I do my creation in wax, okay? And once I'm happy with my creation, and this is really important because at one moment you feel that you finished a piece. You feel that there is a kind of balance you reached, and this balance is really fragile. If I go too far, maybe I will lose my balance.
Right.
So at one moment I feel, okay, this is it. I have to stop. And then we have to think, so how could we put this piece in wax, which can be measuring like 4 meters height or be very small, it really depends. How can we do for this piece to be in bronze and to keep this balance and fragility in the whole process, making the bronze.
4-meter bronze sculptures, some of them.
Yes.
This has got to be really heavy.
You need a crane to lift it up, for sure, yes.
So what would it feel like whilst the pieces were going into the art space? That must have been quite nervous for you.
It's
don't look. Don't look.
Revigorating, actually, because I think sculptures, like all art piece, it's people looking at a sculpture and the sculpture responding to people, and there is a kind of interaction, and they can a kind of dialogue between both human looking at the sculpture, so the public, and the piece, which is breathe, which is own emotions and life. And so when you have a monumental piece in a city, it's absolutely wonderful because it's like the dialogue the interaction is full of life. And I feel that when I go in a city, that there are a lot of vibrations. You feel the energy coming from the city. and the sculpture has its own also vibrations and energy, and so there is a complete interaction with the sculpture, the world surrounding the sculpture, which is a city, and all the people which can just go past, and maybe they will look at the sculpture, maybe not, and maybe the interaction will come, and it's wonderful. So it's great.
We're chatting with sculptor Val, whose new exhibition starts on the 9th of October. That's just a few days away till the 2nd of November at the REDSEA Gallery. I'll give you more details as to where it is and how you can get involved. Val is with us today talking about her 37 bronze sculptures, some 4 meters high. Thousands of kilos, perhaps, I'm sure. More with Val in just a bit.
Hundreds of kilos.
Hundreds of kilos. More with Val in just a bit. Stay with us.
The Living Room on 938 Live. Time now to rejoin The Living Room on 938 Live.
Thanks for staying with us on The Living Room on 938 Live. With us today is sculptor Val, and she has her latest exhibition of 37 bronze sculptures. Each could be a couple of 100 kilos, so we're not talking about how we move them into the art space, but it's at the REDSEA Gallery starting from the 9th of October, and you can find out more at redseagallery.com. REDSEA Gallery is at Dempsey Road, and Val's been telling us about the process by which she came by these large-scale sculptures. Now, is it more challenging making large scales, I can assume, given you have to maybe step on a ladder, the scale of it is...
Yes, it's more challenging in a technical way, but also it's much more challenging in the creation way.
But you have so much more space.
It's true, and I've got a huge studio with 10 meters height on the roof and 200 meters space, etc. So I have the space, but after, when I speak about challenging about the creation, it's a challenge about, when I do a commission work, many times it's an enlargement of a smaller piece, like 1 meter, 1 meter 50. And I have to reach this really balance point I was speaking about, or fragility of emotions. I have to keep this fragility which gives all its vibration to the sculpture in a sculpture which is 3 meters high. And it's much more complicated to find. And the bronze is more present also because it has more, is larger, there is a weight. So it's like I have to feel very focused and concentrate while working to have a balanced power with the material, actually, with bronze. It's not like we struggle together, but we have to work together at the same time, the material and myself.
For larger sculptures, do you tend to find yourself having to move further back in order to see it? So you come forward and touch it, and then you move back to see if it's balanced?
Absolutely. Because
so a lot of physical training.
It's quite, physical training, for sure. But absolutely, because, you focus on one part of the sculpture, and then you concentrate, and then you have to go back and look
at it as
all
a
together,
whole, right? Yeah.
How it's working. So it's absolutely true that you need to go very close, very far, and sometimes I leave my work for a while, because I've been concentrating too much. So
you're too close to it, yeah.
Too close to it. So I leave it for a while, for 1 week. Sometimes it can be for 1 month or so, and then I come back and I've got my new eye, and right away I see what's correct, what
needs a bit of work.
And, so it's very important also to give time to time. It's a long work.
So how long did it take, 37 of these sculptures?
Some, they just come like this very directly, and some, as I just said, it's quite long. But after, there is the whole process for the bronze casting, and this could take like from medium-sized sculpture for 4 to 6 weeks to 2 months for a larger scale sculpture.
Right. So it's a welcome back to Singapore for you. You've exhibited here before. How's it feeling this time round?
It's great because it's a long history with Singapore, actually, because it's my third solo show at the REDSEA Gallery. And always in Singapore, we've been working together with the REDSEA Gallery and with Chris. And we have a really close relationship from gallerist artists. I mean that Chris comes regularly to the art studio, and we exchange about what my work is speaking about, what is going on, etc. And for the show, to prepare the show, I also we spoke a lot also to know what it's important for sculpting, to present a sculpture. And I did a great job, I think, on my side for the last 2 years just to prepare this solo exhibition. And I present a lot of new works which are presented for the first time at Singapore, at the REDSEA Gallery. And also the gallery made a wonderful work to really change the space, changing the walls, painting the walls, making some special lighting, to make really sure that the show will have all its strengths.
Did you want a bigger space? Was it necessary for a bigger space?
No, the gallery has a really large space already with a really high ceiling, so it's the space is really great. And to present a sculpture show is something kind of unique, because you really need space. As
in
we
order
said
to see,
before,
yes.
In order to see, as we said before, we need also to have. It's really heavy, so it's
space
really,
for it to be
yes.
moved into.
But I notice every time I come to Singapore, I notice that there are a lot of sculptures in the streets. So it's always we have been doing a show with Chris from the REDSEA Gallery. Chris had a really good response from the public from Singapore, and I think really Singapore has it's a hazard and not a hazard. I'm here. You know, it's a city which loves space, with a lot of trees and gardens, with a lot of sculptures. So I think my works fits very well being presented in this city.
Earlier you talked about how a city, a space, while interacting with a sculpture, has a certain energy.
Yes.
From the sculpture to the space, from the space back to, or from an audience member back to the piece. What kind of feel does Singapore give you?
Singapore gave me the feeling to respect the environment of the nature of the world. You know, it's a city, but it's a city where you can really breathe. And so I don't know very well Singapore, because every time I come for 2-3 days. So it's and we work. So it's but what I feel, it's a city which I feel is really balanced between the nature, between the weather, which is the moist of the weather,
yep.
but also and the growing nature all the time, and also the city, which is not going too fast and takes the time to. It gives me the feeling that it takes the time to grow in a planned way of growing. So I think this is why sculptures in Singapore can really breathe and find their surrounding.
Did you have some concerns because our weather is so wet that it might affect your bronze sculptures, the rusting and so on?
Alors, not at all, because bronze cannot rust. This is the first...
It's the iron that rusts. See, I've forgotten all my science. Okay, so the bronze is okay.
But after, of course, the patina of the sculpture can change and can... But it's a natural evolution for the patina. And my sculptures are prepared to be outdoor, so it's absolutely not a problem. And the patina with the time will change, will darken, and it's not a problem. I think it's part of the life.
It's just part of the art, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Sounds good to us. 37 monumental bronze sculptures on display from the 9th of October to the 2nd of November at the REDSEA Gallery. A big thank you for Val for joining us today. Again, the REDSEA Gallery is at Dempsey Road. Go to their website to find out more, redseagallery.com. Val, merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Looking at life from a different perspective. The Living Room on 938 Live.